Welcome back to Daytime, and we're renovating. Well, at least some of us are renovating. We're going to take a look at a wonderful kitchen renovation that just finished up this spring. Jennifer Dainard is here from Pioneer Craftsman Limited with their client, Barb Malone, and we're talking about the kitchen renovation that Barb just went through in her home. We had a chance to take a look at a little bit before, and maybe, Jennifer, you can just kind of walk us through the great changes that happened through the floor plan.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, we certainly went through different phases and talked about different possibilities, but really where we ended up landing was the idea of taking out both walls. So when you actually look at the after floor plan here, the old dining room wall, of course, was here, and we had a full wall that went all the way across.
Okay.
A couple of challenges we had to deal with was that this home had been retrofitted with forced air heat after the house had been built. So there was ductwork coming up inside a dining room cabinet previously and inside sort of a corner of the living room. So I had to develop a plan that in some way would incorporate getting that heat up to the second level, get the support that we needed. The second floor was set back from the edge of the house, so I had a lot of weight bearing right about this point here over the old dining room doorway. So it was important that the structure could work for what we wanted to do, for sure. But certainly the before and after pictures will really show how things changed. I think one of the first pictures that I've got there is the view from the family room through to the kitchen, and how the view is stopped by the dining room wall as you look across the space.
Okay, now this is the actual view
before
through the kitchen?
There you go. So there's the banquette.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the table. That's looking through from the TV room into the kitchen, and that's the after.
So now that wall is no longer there. You can see right back to the very back, where I know it's hard to picture in there, but there's some white cabinetry along the back. You're now seeing to the very far side of the house.
Well, and the way it appears, it looks like it's this long hallway instead of just, you know, doors and walls in between areas.
And it's the perspective of that shot a little bit too, because it doesn't end up seeming really skinny as you're going through that space. It's just a transition. And then the following ones will really start to show you a little bit more how it changed from that point. That probably being a good impact picture for reference, but it's not necessarily the most dramatic. There's the picture looking then from the entrance to the kitchen there, seeing the dining room door beyond, the stove jammed up right against the wall.
And her foot-by-foot counter space that she worked on.
And it's probably the type of thing that people who are living in older homes are sitting there nodding, going, oh yes, that's our kitchen. That's exactly how it was. The smaller rooms seem to be lots of them, but small.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Barb. So, Jennifer, were you a part of this process, like from start to finish? You were sort of you developed much. I would find that comforting if I had one person to deal with through the whole thing.
That's exactly what, and I mean, exactly from the start to the finish, everything. I spoke with Jen. Like, I mean, we were pretty much every day talking to each other by email, which was really nice. And and I could even get her so quickly. Nice. So, yeah, so there's the new shot looking through.
And how much of the new stuff was, you know, did you not realize could be done? Like, how much of it was sort of Pioneer's input, and how much was your original vision, kind of thing?
I think probably about 50-50 as we went along, right? It started off as you had kind of done a little bit of preliminary design with the kitchen place and had brought some of that to the table, and there seemed to me quickly to be some inherent flaws with what she had to work around in the existing space, like a stove put in the corner against a window, and things felt a little awkward, so it started to develop.
You see all that open space beside the stove now. It's just, what a difference.
Well, Susan and I are both Bungalonians, right? So, I mean, what this tells me is that there's possibilities that I probably don't even know exist in my, you know, in the closed-off old stuff.
Look at that.
And we can even go through these a little faster too, for sure. But that's the before shot, sort of looking at the corner where the fridge obviously is, and the window. The after shot, the sink under the window. That was one of the big changes we made, was moving the sink. So now the whole counter surface underneath that window is cleared off, and the awkward corner has been eaten up with the microwave. So there's no longer space you're trying to use for counter in there. Really, it just became a space for the microwave. Barb ended up picking a fridge that had a counter depth to it, so it was nice that it saved a little bit more space there. That's before looking from the dining room into the kitchen. So again, the first non-load bearing wall that we took out, and the follow-up shot to that will really start to show you how we dealt with some of the structure there. Nice. So by taking out that window, now you see that front living room. Is that like a stone backsplash you have going on with that? Or? It's a mix.
Yeah.
A mosaic of glass and stone, and it's lovely. Did granite countertops, but you can see sort of a column standing up on the end of the island there, and there's one that symmetrically reciprocates that at the end against the wall, and that's where my heat ducts are going up and my support is in the first post. So it became very critical to find where is that all going to go, how do we still light it properly. There's a couple of pot lights in the bulkhead that was developed to house both the beam that's sitting down from the ceiling, as well as then start to look architecturally important rather than something that just kind of got slapped there, which is a big deal for me, certainly when I'm doing design.
I'd have to picture it piled with dishes, though, I think. To really see how functional it's going to be.
Only Barb can tell you if it looks like that now.
Well, my husband came home after those photos were taken, and he said, I wish the house looked like this every day.
Oh, good. I didn't feel so bad.
Although I understand he does a lot of cleanup.
He is the cleaner in our house. Yes, he is.
This shot here is looking through from the living room across the dining room to the kitchen.
Okay.
Sorry, you were going to say.
Well, I was going to say it makes a difference when suddenly you've got the space that you need. And I know we fall prey to that too with the kids. You know, it's small space, crammed, everybody just drops everything in one place. There's not a place for everything. Suddenly when you have the proper space and everything does have a place, it does kind of change how everybody uses it and what it looks like in the end. You know?
For sure.
And I love in the bio you said that your father-in-law lived through the whole renovation, I think, is that right?
Yeah,
and said the quality and professionalism was... I mean, I would be worried about that, I guess, having...
Yeah, and my father-in-law is a very particular man, too, and he had nothing but great things to say. He was very happy with quality, the workmanship. The timeline was a huge thing. I mean, we were given a timeline, and it was bang on, right, start to finish, everything. The only thing I think was the backsplash was on back order, and that was 4 days late. So, and everyone laughed at me when I said, oh, my kitchen designer said it's going to be done. They're like, oh, kitchen renovations are never done on time.
So you're within a few days, then?
Days.
Oh, that's unheard of.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
And that's important, especially when you're talking a kitchen, because the kitchen so often is still the key room in any home. That's where the gathering happens. That's where the homework's done. That's where, you know, everybody seems to center around the kitchen. When you take that component out of your life for whether it's months or however long it is, it's important to know what that transition is going to be, how long it's going to take.
And setting out that timeline so that there's sort of a calmness, a calm approach to saying there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and our promise to you is it's going to be done. I start a job the next day. I've got big incentive not only to please you, but also to please the next client, and I think that's what differentiates us a lot.
Delivering on promises, that's weird.
That's why she'll never be a politician. However, she's great at the job she does. And you can contact them for more information. PioneerCraftsmanLimited.com is where you go for the information, or PioneerCraftsman.com. And thank you so much. Congratulations on a beautiful renovation, Barb. It's just lovely. Okay, we're back with more in a moment. Stay with us.